Wonderful humans, welcome back to Board Game Dads. My name is Anthony,
And my name is Eric.
and we are the Board Game Dads, back today with another
Kickstarter
Kickstarter
day.
day.
We were
Huzzah!
we were not on the same page on that one.
It was pretty good
It was all right. I
for
give it a,
for
I give it about a 4,
out of
10.
5. Oh,
Yeah,
for something that was not planned, I think it was pretty good.
that's true. Well, I planned on doing it at the same time as you, and I jumped the gun. I guess it happens.
That
I'm
will happen.
excited. I love getting games in the mail for Kickstarter day.
Yeah, we have 3 more games to talk about today that we have recently gotten from Kickstarter. We'll even take a look at a couple of games that are currently on Kickstarter that piqued our interest a bit. But before that, we're going to go back in time a little bit, specifically to the last Kickstarter day video. So last time we did this, we talked about 3 games, which were Creature Comfort, Dead Reckoning, and the Isle of Cats bundle of stuff. So we're going to take a look at a couple of comments here. And by the way, folks, if you ever want to be featured on a flashback, all you have to do is comment on a video and you just might find your comment up here on the flashback. So here we go. Start off with our good friend Evan Diesel, who mentions that he got Creature Comforts. He hasn't played it yet, and got all that new Isle of Cat stuff. Haven't played it yet either. Now, remember, this is a few months ago, so it could be different now. And I'm sure Evan will let us know in these comments if he's played these games yet.
That is true.
But more importantly, he says, Eric, did you get and put together that wooden insert for Isle of Cats that we saw a picture of?
I would answer this, but I'm pretty sure I already did, and you probably have the slide. Oh, there it is.
Eric says, yes, I put the entire thing together myself without any problems. And we rarely hear from Melissa, but she could not help but speak up and defend herself here and call you out for your utter nonsense and lies here. False. 90% of it she did herself, and you probably did the last couple of pieces. That sound about right?
That sounds about right.
But yeah, we love to hear from Melissa, and Evan did respond after this and just said hilarious. So good times for all of us involved on that one.
Now, I would like to go on record and say it's not that I couldn't have put it together, but if I did, it wouldn't be as nice looking. I have I'm a little impatient with stuff like that, and I'm a little more forceful. Melissa's a little more delicate and a little smarter. So so I let her do that. She wanted to do that. She knew that this was going to be a tough one. And after me 5 minutes trying to do something, I'm going to get all mad, start throwing stuff across the room.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yep.
I feel you. I have yet to really put together any custom inserts, to be honest. The only thing I've built is that's a lie, actually. Lauren got me some stuff for Wingspan, so I did put those together.
Right.
But they were all individual boxes, not like a big tray or anything. Anyway, I digress. On to what's on the radar currently on Kickstarter. And again, that's as of us recording this, which is in late June. So bear that in mind.
Right.
Eric, you picked out one here to start us off that has some pretty cool looking components.
It does. Now, this one is called Globe Trotting, and I think it's like $50 or something like that. It's, I guess, a flip and write with markers, but you're not writing on a piece of paper. You have this little globe, and you build this stand out of, like that cardboard stuff, and you put the globe there, and you're going from country to country and making like your map, your vacation destination or something like that. And it's just, I guess it's the next step in the gimmick world of like the flip and writes. Like, what else can you add? What kind of contraption can you add to change it again? First, it's rolling dice, then it's rolling dice, then it's flipping cards. Then you got the markers and not just the pencil, and now they're just gonna incorporate this little globe, which I think could be really cool. However, I think it could be really annoying to have to move the globe around and not erase the marker with your hand. I find that to be a problem sometimes when using markers. Maybe I'm using the wrong kind, but that kind of concerns me a little bit. Now, I forget who actually did this game, but I believe it's the same company that did Canvas,
Okay.
which is another really beautiful looking game, but I've got a couple of problems with it.
Hmm.
Mostly that it's very analysis paralysis inducing. That's my main gripe with that game. What seems like a 20-minute game takes like an hour and a half sometimes.
Yeah, understandable.
But yeah, this one looks cool. It's got a little globe that you get to draw on. Of course, I want to try it.
Yeah, that's definitely
Right?
different. Definitely different. All right, so I've got one here that
Oh,
is.
real quick,
Oh, go ahead.
as of whatever whenever this drops, I think it's still going to be on Kickstarter for another 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I guess by like mid-July it'll be gone.
I will. Mine has, I think, about 10 days left.
Okay.
So early July. That would be the end of this one. So this one's actually a implementation, I guess, of an older game that I do own, in fact. And this one is called Compounded. So Compounded is a cool chemistry-based board game with some pretty nifty components. This is a new Kickstarter that is Compounded the Peer Review Edition. From what I gather, it has most of the same stuff, looks a little bit different, and it sounds like it's streamlined a little bit, which I appreciate because there was a couple of clunky parts with that game. I remember the rule book being not so great and it not being an easy game to teach, which is why it stays on the shelf pretty often. But the really cool thing about this Kickstarter is they are pairing it, the new Compounded, and then also this roll and write version of the game called Lab Notes, which looks pretty cool as well. In this one, I mean, in both games, really, you're building chemical compounds and trying to avoid explosions and things like that. And I'm not entirely sure how much of that carries over to this roll and write lab notes version, but I do know that the pledge levels allow you to pledge just for the roll and write if you want, or just for the board game, or both. So there's that. That's Compounded, a game about chemistry, which there are not a lot of.
See, you pronounce that compounded. I pronounce that compounded. Who's
Mm,
right?
probably neither one of us. It's probably compounded.
That's the French version.
Probably not. So that's a couple of things that are on the radar, folks. We may back them, we may not, but check them out if you're interested in either one of those types of themes, especially if you like roll, flip, and writes. Those are two options.
If you are interested in that theme of, at least part of the board is the periodic table of elements. There's a game called Periodic that is also a pretty fun game. You can find that a lot of places, probably online somewhere. That's
Right,
also
right.
a pretty cool sciencey game.
Yeah, we mentioned that in a previous video. I forget what it was for, but we definitely touched
Might
on
have been
that
back
one.
to school.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh man, those are good videos. Folks, we're in really the beginning of summer has officially started here. And
Mm-hmm.
just to let you know, last summer we had a pretty big Board Game Dad's summer block party with the 7 themes of summer. We had 7 different videos about summer games, plus a live wrap up show. All kinds of good stuff went on there, some special guests, some cool lists. I'll put a link up there somewhere to the playlist of the summer block party from last year. So check that out as well. But on to some new Kickstarters that we've gotten recently and gotten
Mm-hmm.
played. All right, Eric, you're up first with a pretty cool theme and some excellent looking components.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be a theme
Mm,
moving forward for some of these games with the excellent, and and that's a lot of Kickstarter games, right? You can get it,
yeah.
and you can maybe you can get it with like the crummy components, but for an extra however much money, you get it with the nice components.
Hmm.
But anyway, the first game, we got Wild Serengeti. We got this maybe about a month ago. My wife backed it, and this is by Gunho Kim and published by Bad Comet and I don't know 5 other publishers. plays 1 to 4 in 45 to 120 minutes, which is a that's a that's a pretty big differential right there. Uh,
Yeah, that's true.
and it's for ages 14 and up, which
Hmm,
okay. It's basically a pattern building game, and on BGG it says it has action drafting, which to me is sort of just like worker placement, in at least in this situation. Uh,
okay.
but on your turn, you have one of these places where you can go and you take your video camera and you put it in the spot. You either take an animal and put it out, or you do something like you can swap two animals on the board, you can move an animal a certain amount of spaces, or take another scenery card or something like that. And what you're trying to do in this game is have these animals out there in a specific, like maybe in a line. You have to have a line where it's rhinoceros, zebra, I don't know, giraffe, lion, in that order.
Okay. Okay.
And the lion has to be on the mountain. So then you have to find like a straight line where you get all those guys on that and the lion's on the mountain. And then
Hmm.
you're like, oh, I'm, claiming points for this scenery card or whatever, because this is, here it is. And you show everybody and you get some points. And that's the game. And it's cool. It's cute. It's got really cool artwork. And I absolutely love the minis. Now, on the
Oh
picture on the
man.
right, those ones on the bottom, those are from the expansion, which we have not delved into. But the ones on the top are all the ones that you're going to be using during the game, taking pictures of in these, certain scenes. And there's also a little bit of resource management. There's food, and you can use food to like lure an animal from one tile to the next, just to like kind of move them around a little bit. And I think that's a free action, so you can kind of do that, get them in place, then do your action, move somebody else, and then boom, you got the card. So this is a fun one. In the two-player version, which is the only type that we've played so far,
Hmm.
it can be a little bit like, oh well, here I have the lion, the alligator, the rhinoceros, whatever in a line, and I'm going to move the elephant. All right, then my turn's over, and then next turn I have one more thing to do, and then I can get this. Now the other player is like, well, I need that elephant over here, so then they go and they move the elephant, and then you're like, okay, she just undid what I did, and then what are you
Right.
going to do? Are you going to move the elephant again? But
It's funny. I was gonna ask that if that. I was gonna ask you if that was like a thing that happens, like
yeah, that
just
was a
kind of
thing
like
that
moving
happened.
stuff back and forth.
We noticed it. However, you can just go to another space and be like, all right, I'm going to bring out a new elephant and just put them wherever you want. So at the very least, in the two-player version, that problem seemed to be mitigated a little bit.
Okay.
But we could see that it was concerning as we were playing, like, oh, like, are we just going to, but it never really came up, but it was kind of like in the back of our head. So we still came out of the game with a feeling of, well, this could happen. It almost happened, or it might have happened once or twice. But for the most part, it's a great game.
So do you feel like that time range is accurate, being like a two-player version taking close
I
to 45
I
minutes? Or
cannot really tell right now, as we've only
okay.
played like beginner level games where we're looking back. I mean, wait, hold on, let's look this up, and then we got to feed the cat and the dog at a certain time, So like, what could be a 45-minute game for two
Right.
player is going to take us an hour and a half anyway, maybe even 2 hours for our first play. It's just 45 minutes. Oh, great, or 2 hours. Ooh, like
Yeah.
it's big.
It is, but when it's that big of a range and it's a pretty good player count, it would lead
It
me to
could just
believe
be.
that it's just more people makes more time in the game.
Well, because it's 1 to 4 players, it could just be, if you're one player, it's going to take 45. If you're playing with
Right.
four, it's going to take 2 hours. So like a two-player game should take somewhere not in the middle of that, but on the lower end, maybe an
Right.
hour and 20 minutes or something like that.
This sounds cool. I knew about this game, but I didn't know that that was the premise that you
Yeah.
were photographing the animals. That is this based on like a TV show called Wild Serengeti, where they
No.
nature show?
However, there is a show called Serengeti. That was like the commercial they had during Shark Week. It must have been on Discovery. That was the commercial that was always playing, because that was like the big thing at the end of Shark Week was, oh, watch Serengeti. It's about lions. Okay. Uh, as far as I know, this game had nothing to do with anything. I didn't. My wife told me that she backed it. It was one of those, you backing anything right now? And then, yes or no or whatever, figure out like so we're not back in the same stuff. And then she backed it. She told me what it was, and I was like, okay, I'm not even going to look into it. I'm
Mm.
going to wait, forget about it. One day the game will come in the mail. We'll get excited. We'll open it. Zoe loves to punch tokens out, so that's a lot of fun. And then we'll play it on some weekend, and hopefully we'll enjoy it. And that's what happened. We enjoyed it. You'd have to wait for Melissa to write in the comment or somebody else whether or not there was anything else like, oh, well, actually, like part of the proceeds went to whatever. And
Mm.
I have no idea. It's just a game as far as I'm concerned, and a good one.
Awesome.
Yep.
I wonder if you can use those animal meeples to do some stacking.
I'll tell you what, Melissa backed an additional set of the animal meeples.
Oh, cool.
So we have an additional set of all. So any game like where you have to use a meeple, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm just going to be a cheetah as long as it
That's
fits on the.
awesome.
Yeah. So
That's
yeah.
cool.
So
Yeah,
that,
they look
yeah.
really nice. Awesome. All right. So my first pick here is definitely another
Your first pick
nature.
or your
Well, it's not a pick. The next Kickstarter game that we're talking about is also nature related, although it is not animals. It is flowers, another theme that we tend to gravitate towards here on Board Game Dads. This one is called Gift of Tulips. This is from an all women design team and publishing and the illustrators and all that. And this one has basically just cards. It's a pretty small box. I'll get to that in a couple minutes, but essentially, there's a couple of ways you're going to get points here. There's four different types of tulips: the orange, pink, blue, and kind of reddish. And they have real names. I just don't remember what they are. But basically, you can see here when you set up the game, you set up those four cards on top, and those are the festival cards. And they're basically ranking the value of each of these types of tulips. So in this game, you're going to be kind of manipulating the value of these flowers. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most of each one is going to get a certain amount of points depending on where it ends up in this ranking. So when it's your turn, you're going to draw one card and then pick one action and then draw a second card and do a different action. The actions are there's only three things you can do. You can add the card to your own personal display, your bouquet in front of you, which again will give you points at end of game in kind of a majority situation. Or, and this is where the title kind of comes in, you can gift the card to another player. So you're adding to their bouquet, but you're going to get usually some giving points for that. So if you give it to someone else, you're going to get points right away. If you put them in front of yourself, you're going to get those points potentially end of game. The other thing you can do is you can add to the festival. So if you don't want to keep the card or give it to someone, you can put it into its corresponding spot. And then whatever that number is going to change the total of that. So in this picture I have here, for example, if it was my turn and I had another blue four, let's say, that I added under that blue four, the blues are now going to be worth 8 points. So what you would do is you would move those blues over to the first column and everything's going to kind of shift down. So as you play, there's a lot of shifting going on. And the cool part is you can play a card to the secret festival. And it's basically this deck of face down cards. It's going to keep adding up as the game goes on. And when the end game is triggered, you're going to pick 5 cards out of there randomly and adjust these values again. So you kind of want to like the strategy is almost like I want to build up this secret deck with like these certain color cards. So when we reveal them, maybe it'll move it over to rank number one or something like that. As I was reading the rules, I was like, this is what this game is about. I wasn't sure how much I was going to like it, and after like 2 or 3 turns, I really liked it. I couldn't wait for my turn to come back. Like I was really looking forward to drawing a card and making a decision. And for a game that doesn't have a lot to it, that was pretty cool staying power. I will say the components here are pretty cool. Again, it's mostly just cards. You do have these little player pieces that you choose from here. Out of these six, so this does play up to 6 players. And yeah, the only
what is
thing
that yellow one? Is that a shoe? or
It is actually. It is
what
a
is that Dutch
clog.
shoe called? A
A
clog.
clog. Yes, good job. I was going to quiz you on these, and that's definitely the hardest one. Kind
Nice.
of looks like a yellow mustache. Um, but yeah, my only complaint is that you have these individual scorecards where you're putting whatever your player token is, and you're keeping your own score. I don't know. I'd rather the game come in a slightly bigger box and have a central shared scoreboard. I feel like because what was happening sometimes was, the scorecards are the size of the regular deck of cards, the same size, so they're pretty small. And these
Okay.
tokens are, you know, they're small, but they're not like that small.
Yeah,
So you can,
scan it, increase it, print it.
yeah,
Done. Upgraded.
that's true. But that's a very, very minor complaint. I did enjoy the gameplay on this one a lot, and I look forward to playing it again. That is Gift of Tulips.
That looks cool. That looks
Yeah,
like
it was
a
interesting.
nice little card game. Again, my preferences. If I see like oh, flowers, this could be a cool game that Melissa might like. That, oh, but it's just cards with numbers on them. Ooh.
Mm.
That. But that sounds like there's a couple of interesting choices. I would definitely want to give that one a try.
Yeah, it's not, what I like about it for just being cards. A lot of card games, basically, especially if you're just drawing a card and playing a card, there's almost always like a best move to do. But in
Right.
this game, because of those different options, it does have a little more strategy than you would expect from just a
Yeah.
card game. And it's pretty quick actually. Once you get the hang of it, this plays in about 20 minutes. So fast one to get down and out. All right, we got Uno Mas.
Uno Mas. This game is called Transmissions, and I
Beep, beep,
was
boop, beep,
very
boop, boop,
excited
beep, boop,
about
boop,
this
boop.
one. I So first I want to point out that I guess you can't really see them in this picture. This game has got some really cool looking plastic miniatures. It's only the four
Oh yeah, that's
robots.
the next picture. Here you go.
All right, it's just those little four robots down there, but they're pretty big. Like you can see how much space they take up in the insert, the
Yeah,
amazing insert that comes with the game. So they're a couple inches tall. They came with this. I don't know how to describe the look where they look like they're kind of dirty, a little disheveled or something from the paint. It's not just like bright
yeah,
blue, bright green. That's cool. I'm not going
distressed
to
look.
paint these. Oh yeah, stress. I'm not going to paint these. And the fact that they took just a little bit of effort to be like, well, you know what? They'll still look good if nobody paints them. Thank you. I appreciate it. Um, the difference between getting this game with these minis versus getting them with cardboard standees was only about $14 in the two versions. So I
Okay.
had to go for these minis just for that
Yeah.
for that 14. You could also get an additional set for like $20. So if you didn't get the minis, now you're like, wow, they look really cool. Well, you just lost out on $6
Plus shipping.
plus shipping. So anyway, this game is it's by Adam West. Probably not the same as Batman.
That would be awesome.
And it was published by Crosscut Games. It plays 1 to 4 in 45 to 60 minutes, and it plays ages 10 and up. It's a hand management game with a rondelle style board and a little bit of set collection too for some points. And you basically, every player's got a deck of the same cards, and you're going to get like 3 cards that will allow you to move a specific robot. Nobody's going to be the green robot. Nobody's going to be the blue robot. Everybody's going to be using all 4 robots with their deck of cards. So you might have a
Right.
card that says you can move the green guy, and then you look and see on your player board how fast your green guy can go, and then you move them, up to 3 spaces or whatever it is. And I think it even says it on the card. And that's it. So you're moving whichever characters you can with your hand of 3 cards in order to go to these different areas, each one of these different areas on the boards that you can tell based on the different squares for the spot. And there's 2 in the middle too. I got confused when I first looked at that.
Hmm.
Sort of like it's shaped like a little Pac-Man, but every different style of space that you can land on is a different area. So on the very bottom, those 2 rocks are this water, but where you can get resource. You can either get 1 blue token or 2 or 1 blue cube or 2 white cubes. So you're going to be getting resources. You're going to be getting upgrades, which are these things on the left. There's the square upgrades, which are called, I don't know. And then there's the smaller rectangular upgrades, which are called, I don't know. And so you're going to be getting these and putting them on your player boards to try to make your robot have
Uh,
these little extra special powers, or certain things are set collection. Like you might have a sock, and if you get a second sock, then great, they're both worth 3 points each. But if you get a third sock, oh my god, now they're worth like 6 points each. So that kind of thing. And it's a cute little game. There's also these pipes that you can get on the side. That feels like it was a little bit extra. That they're not really that important, because basically you just, if you go there, you get a pipe tile and you connect it to your pipe, and then you also get points for something on your pipes.
hmm.
If you fill up a robot with either the smaller rectangular things, which are ideas maybe, versus the larger square things, which are upgrades. I'm really not sure. Once you fill up your rope, you'll get a certain amount of points. Like you can see in the picture on the left, that first robot he's worth 8 points if you fill him up. You can see he's not filled up there. The third
Mhm.
robot's filled up with just two of those big squares. So at the end of the game, he's going to score like 6 points.
Okay.
If somebody fills up all four of their robots, the game end triggers. And if those upgrade tiles or the idea tiles, if the stack ends, then that triggers the game end as well. And so you're going to be kind of moving around trying to get points through all of these different things, the upgrade tiles, and the ideas and the pipe tiles. And on some of these tiles there's going to be butterflies, on some of the other ones there's going to be birds, and at the end of the game you also get points for those. You basically multiply them. So
Hmm.
if you have 3 butterflies and 5 birds, you get 15 points just for your butterflies and birds. That's pretty cool. It gives you something to sort
Nice.
of search out for.
So basically, if you on your player board upgrade the green robot with something that lets it move more, only you are able to do that when it's your turn, right?
Right, and only when I play a card that allows me to move that green robot. I
Okay.
might not have a card that allows me to move the green robot. I might have a card that allows me to move a robot on one of three different terrain types, like the spaces. And if the green guy just happens to be on like the forest space, then sure, I can move him with
Hmm.
that card. And then when I move him, I take a look on my player board. I see if he gives me any special powers or anything like that. Maybe I'll move him and I'll be like, oh, great. Now I get to take a resource cube because I moved him, or I did something different with him. And so it's got a little bit of that engine building in there as well. And it's a cool little game.
Yeah, this looks fun.
I, I did have an issue with it because everybody's controlling different robots. And a lot of these spaces or these areas only have two spots. So if there's a robot in one spot, that means in order to do a certain action, like get an upgrade tile, I have to move a robot into the other spot. Now, these robots only go counterclockwise. If they're on the complete other end of the board, it's going to take a few turns to get them over there. And
Mm,
once I put him there, there's nothing making me want to move him, because once I move him somewhere else, then that spot's open and Melissa can go there with somebody, like somebody else can go there. So I'm just going to sit there. I'm not going to try and move somebody out of that spot to do. And so that can be a little bit mean, because you're intentionally leaving people somewhere and going, oh, I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to put him right here so that you can't go there, because now both of these spots are filled.
sure.
And so, like I said, the game's cool. The minis are cool. That is not that cool.
Totally
But
not cool.
we only played it the one time, and we're definitely going to play it again. And especially playing it again and knowing that there might be some sort of way to mitigate that. I'm really not sure. We just had the one playthrough for this one,
All
but
right. So which robot do you like best?
oh, just the way they look.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think I like that the dude with the mohawk and like the shields for arms or whatever he thinks he can fly.
They all look kind of sad.
They do. The blue one looks like he's kind of looking up, so he's looking on the bright side of life, where the yellow one is just sitting on the toilet like, where did life go wrong?
Oh man, yeah. They Dice Tower recently played this on
Hmm.
their latest marathon. I saw this one on the playthrough. Looked pretty cool.
Nice.
So that's Transmissions. All right, folks. So there you have it. There are 3 recent Kickstarter grabs, a couple on the radar, and a few comments from the last Kickstarter video. And that's going to start to wrap it up here, folks. Eric, anything you want to add before we
Yes.
close the Pledge Manager?
Yes, absolutely. So be expecting another Kickstarter video really soon.
Yeah, sooner than this
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
There's a couple games that are just waiting to get played or waiting to get played more. And yeah, we're I'm very excited about one of them. Very excited about one of them. Who knows? Maybe
Yeah.
I get another one in the mail before we record,
Mm,
but very
okay.
soon going to be another Kickstarter day.
Cool. So be on the lookout for that, folks. And also, July is right around the corner. So we'll have our new podcast, video cast for June coming out soon as well. As always, let us know in the comments if you've played any of these games. What recent Kickstarters have you gotten? What is on your radar now? What are you currently waiting for? Or what are you about to pledge to? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And that's all we got. So until next time, there's a cat.
There's a cat.
All right, folks, we'll see ya. Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
kitty.